That's good. I think let's start. Elder Moyo. Just want us to talk. Huh? From them, these young people are complicated. I'm just happy that we've got IT department. See, everybody's got this. Yeah, no, this one can do it. You can have a problem. I think let's put it so that I don't leave it. Do you have a place where I can click here? What is, I just went to order myself. You can connect the charge if it's possible. If not, can we just check how much is the thing? 55 should not. If not, we can still get the thing. In the meantime. Yeah, we can think about we can start, huh? We can just start with prayer. Come and pray for us. Right? Come. We're going to start the program now. Né? That's good. Let's pray. Pray for us.
Jesus, thank you for today. Amen.
Very simple, straightforward prayer which arrives. No complication. Thank you, Jesus, for the day. Amen. And yes. Now, our discussion. I just want us to be it challenge. Yeah. now, our discussion this afternoon. Remember, as Christians, we have got a responsibility coming to God's resources. Now, sometimes when you talk about things like this, some people somewhere else, they think about their salary. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. It just need you. This is why look in the Garden of Eden. The main issue where people really completely fail is on management. Yes, the failure was on management. And if you look at the Bible through where people fail on certain things, it's usually management. It's nothing to do with how much resources you have. I think you have seen people who you manage to, in your mind, rate them very high, who are working, you are happy, you see, and then they've got a lot of challenges, irrespective of whatever money is available. But the issue is management. It's nothing to do with money. Now, when you look at the book of Exodus, chapter 28 to 11, it encourages hard work. That's right. So it encourages that the people should work hard. That's why it says 7 days the 6 days thou shalt labor. It doesn't say 6 days thou shalt work. No. Laboring is not a small hard work. You must sweat. And then he said the 7 days, the day of rest. So when coming to work, God is very clear that to work. And then you know very well, generally, not necessarily here, but generally, Christians are very lazy. Doesn't matter which religion. Because they've been taught by whoever somewhere else that you can just give and sleep and God will give. Yeah, you can just sleep. As long as you give and rest and relax. That's right. And God will just bring it in double. And they sleep and then they just don't want to wake. Now, just the other thing which I want to mention, if you look at in general, when coming to religious groups, Catholic, whatever, most of the time, the verse which we emphasize is that it is blessed to give than to receive. And to the extent where that verse makes the leaders everywhere else, either pastors or to teach people how to give, but forget to teach them on how to receive. This is why you find that it's very less to get taught on how to receive. But we can sit here and stand in front here and then make people go home guilty that they could not give anything just because of poor management, not because they're not good Christians. They just poorly managed their resources, God's resources, but then they are not having anything to give. And then those type of people, when they arrive home, they can't sleep because they are honest, but they are tied up with certain issues because they are not being taught how to manage and how to receive so that they can give. I hope we are together. That's right. So the teaching is sorry to talk about other things. When we had a discussion about this one is not working. It's not me. This one. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Now, sometimes this way. Sometimes people are talking about that Lyttelton Church is very rich, and they make a decision about us without even us knowing. When you say Lyttelton Church, you must give us 20,000 rand, and Lyttelton says, no, we can't do it. But no, that's right. It's exactly how people assess each other. You just buy a car, people assess you. That's right. So the main thing is, we as we're going to discuss now, is that we're just trying to see how can we as Christians be able to receive, plan properly, so that this church, can also on the side benefit. Because remember, if we have got enough resources, we will be able to give without even any worry, any complaint. You can be able to give. If the resources are not there, you may not be able to give. Or if the resources are there, but they are not properly managed, you're going to have a problem. We're going to, so this. Now, if you look at that book of Numbers, it talks about retirement. But you're talking about the Levites. It would be very nice just go read it very, very quickly. And then it talks about the Levites retiring. That when they retire, they will stop doing the normal duties. But they will still be doing part-time job where they will be asked to do certain things, by the ones who are doing their work. And that's right. Just read loud quickly so that we can continue. Just read it loud. Can we hear from there? I thought we had a few of us, if we can hear.
It says, and from the age of 50 years, from the age of 50 years, they shall cease waiting upon the service thereof, and shall serve no more, but shall minister with their brethren in the tabernacle of congregation, to keep the charge, and shall do no service. Thus shalt thou do unto the Levites, touching their charge.
Now, in other version, you can see it talk about retirement. They will retire. Now, when we retire, most of the black community, the blacks, meaning African, let me put it that way. When they retire, they are miserable. Miserable. You find people refusing to get out of the office because they still want to get something because they never planned for it. Yeah. Retirement is always a disaster to most of our people because they never plan for it. I'm telling you, when you are in the office providing your services, at wherever you work, everybody is excited. You have got a lot of stiff case in the office. The time they don't want you, it's just one day. They will write you a letter 6 months in advance, despite all your certificate, and say, remember, in 6 months you are retiring. You must vacate the office on the 29th of September. We are going to start running the interviews for somebody to take over. When that letter arrives, people undergo depression because they never planned for retirement. Now, our duty now, as our responsibility as a Lyttelton Church, is to make sure that our members are having a very good financial state, in a very good financial state. This is what we call it financial freedom, not wealth. Remember, everybody can be financially free, but not everyone can be wealthy. I will explain what it means. You see, if you can talk about wealth, you're talking about something else. But you're talking about financial freedom, it is a completely different issue. Now, if you look at what we call life resources, usually in all the presentation I do, I put this first. Because you've got time, you've got health, you've got money. Health, you know very well, you've got 6 facets. One of them is economical one. It's physical, mental, spiritual, social being, and then the 5th one is the economic well-being. So that is what health is all about. But now money there, we put it aside on its own. Somebody can read that in Ecclesiastes 10, verse 19. This verse here. Let's do it quickly so that we can go where we are. Yeah, just if somebody can just read it for us quickly, or I can. Who got it? Just read. Now, I want us to put it in the context to say money answers all. In other words, you are advised that in most of the time you cannot do anything without money. That's right. But you look at Matthew 6:24 and Timothy 6:10 and Hebrews 13:5, it talks about a relationship, your relationship with money. That a relationship with money, you must be careful how you relate to money. Money is very important to do everything, but your relationship with it is very, very crucial because it can be worshipped. That's right. This is why 6:24 there can't serve money and you can't serve God and money. So it can be worshipped. So that balance is very, very crucial. As you invest, as you earn a salary, you've got resources, you are advised. Be careful. Don't think, while the Bible says money answers everything, is that your relationship with money can be very dangerous. This is why some people, when they've got money, they become arrogant. It's because of the relationship. The relationship. Now, I know that if we as we are, like for example, this afternoon, this midday, when we were looking for chairs for the new property, we get a nice quotation. They say, come and fetch 200 chairs with delivery at 16,000. I know we can get them tomorrow, isn't it? Yes, it's very easy. They said they can deliver sheep. Something talking. There's an echo here. No, man. Can you help me there? Hello? This thing is... hello? They put him on Zoom.
It's echoing here. It's on mute.
It's on mute, but we can hear myself here.
Yeah.
Is the speaker?
It's mute.
What did I do?
Nothing. You did nothing.
Oh, it's quiet now.
You said you didn't want to see this thing.
Which
I
thing?
took the click to all.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you very much. That's fine. Now, technology. Yeah, that's right. Now, thank you very much. So now, and the reason why we struggle even to give, to fulfill certain responsibilities, despite management. I know we've got a lot of UA professionals and so on. Sometimes we can manage here and there, but the problem which we have is Matthew chapter 6. To worry about tomorrow. That is a very tough thing. Worry about tomorrow. Now, when God was saying to us, don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow it will take care of itself, isn't it? Then seek thee first the kingdom of God and all the others. Don't worry what you are going to wear and so on. He does not say, don't plan for tomorrow. He said, don't worry. Remember, worry is a very dangerous thing. Yes, don't worry. If you have planned, you will not worry. But if you have not planned, you will consistently worry about tomorrow. Now, let's just define this very quickly, and then we will. Now, when you talk about financial freedom, we're talking about when your income from your assets exceed your monthly expenses. And it doesn't matter how much you are earning there. That statement, you can earn 2,000 rand per month, but your income, whatever you get from your assets meaning everything, including your investment, your cash, your asset, properties, everything. If your income is exceeding your monthly expenses, then you don't have to worry about tomorrow. You won't. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it is impossible for everyone to be wealthy, but it's very possible for everyone to be financially free. Now, limit your expenses and limit your cost of living. It does not depend on how much you are earning. Now, most people obviously live next year's life today, you see. Yeah, because they compete with friends, they compete with family friends. They go into somebody's house, they come back depressed, they go and buy what they never wanted because they never planned, because of poor management. You see, the poor management. They see so-and-so driving a new car, and then the man can't sleep the whole night. Because that's right. And then very unnecessary. Very unnecessary. And this man has planned this the past 10 years to that in 2024, 23, I'm going to buy a new car. He planned and put the finances, everything properly managed, goes and buy the car cash and come back. 10 years back. And he buys it today, you get depressed. It's not necessary. It is not necessary because, but now the main message here is every individual, whether you are a pensioner or you are a domestic worker, one day I was saying, one day I must sit down with the domestic workers only, and then just talk to them and say, it doesn't matter how much you earn. People who earn whatever amount, they can do great things. Doesn't matter how much. But when your expenses, or your monthly expenses are far less than the income from your assets, you are done. Yes. 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 I don't know what it is. It's a child. You know? I remember in the past, the child will run to the pulpit. You will see the deacon running to catch him. But the child must not reach there. Until the deacon, until the deacon, yeah. And then until the deacon can have a child himself, then he said, these things are possible. Okay, that's right. No, that's very true. Yeah, that's right. That's very true. There is, you know what the reason is? It's competition and poor management. That's right. Poor management. This is why you find in some other places, when some other places, né? in other places, when there's somebody mentioned, yeah, it's him in the meeting one day. Some of the people can't be disciplined. No. The people are so afraid of them. You know why? Their relationship with money is so bad that whatever they give, they control. Yes. Some other places. And that goes with the relationship. If your relationship with money is bad, you've got a big problem. A serious one. Yeah, it's a very serious one. So as you rightly say, across board, né? Issue is management. And like we're presenting the topic somewhere in another church about debt elimination. And then I was just sharing with them earlier. And then they said, these old people are owing everywhere. And another old lady said, no. You see, these little ones, this one who are attending school, the small ones. There's a tech shop at the school. They already borrowed sweets there. They started living in debts. They've borrowed sweets. When you give them 5 rand, they go and pay the debt. So they've already started. That's like they are like their parents, you know, but they are borrowing money. They are borrowing things at their level. They are going to grow with them. They start there. They are growing. He did not have money to buy sweets at school. He says, give me the sweets, I'll give you money next week, and mommy, give me money. And this is where they start. That's right. So, and you can imagine, and this child you can see is borrowing the sweets because he's seeing other children eating sweets. And he doesn't have the sweets, so the best way is to borrow it. Then from there, he'll bring it next week, the money. He's starting to live in debt. This is why even at home, you must teach the little ones, those who have got small children. Teach these little ones. Don't take anything on debt and say, I'll pay next week. If we don't have money at home, please, we don't have it. You must learn to live that we don't have it. Don't go and borrow anything in case we get the money you are going to pay. It will cause you problems. Just few steps on how to be debt-free, then we are going to go back to what we were discussing. Now, number one is they've been debt-free. Obviously, we know most people fail there. Secondly, you must build an emergency fund. That emergency fund, as you mentioned, is like an airbag. You know an airbag? You will never know that you need it until it happens. I don't know whether you ever walk around and trying to open where the airbags are and to confirm whether they are there. No, they just tell you that this car has got 8 airbags, 16 airbags, others are hanging on the side, and then you just drive. And you don't need them until you need them. The day you need them, it's like that. So the same appear with an emergency fund. You realize that you need it at the time you need it. That's why you find people when there's a funeral at home, they go to the bank and borrow money. That's right. So then step number 3, earn income from your assets to cover your expenses. Obviously, this is the final step. Most people start with this step. They spend less than you earn, save 15% of your salary every month. But we'll discuss that later. And that is, it must be well planned that I'm getting so much per month, so much I'm going to save. You plan earlier. Now, this is what I was talking about, you see. As I mentioned, all of us can be financially free. If you read in that chapter, it would be very nice to read it. It put it very, very nicely. But not all of us can be wealthy. It is put in nicely in Deuteronomy 15, verse 11, which says there will always be the poor people in the land. Therefore, I command you to be open-handed towards your fellow Israelites who are poor and needy in your land. So the Bible put it very clear. There will be people who are poor. Not poor managers. The poor. You get what I'm saying? I'm not going to build a big house, and then after building a big house, I buy a big car. After buying a big car, I go to Elder Moyo or Aldete to borrow money to buy food. It's a problem. It's a poor management. Things don't tie up at all. Ne? So I'm not talking about people like that who behave like that, who uses you to invest. No, buy this, that. When they are done, they are in trouble because they don't want to sell this big house. I get it? Then they do what I'm saying. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are in need. That's it. Remember the other thing. Worrying about tomorrow is a waste of time. That's right. But planning about tomorrow is time well spent. In other words, when they talk about tomorrow, don't worry about tomorrow, it's because of poor planning. Let me rush very quickly. Planning is thinking ahead about goals, steps scheduled, and then trusting in God for guidance. Planning well alleviates worry. Worry is dangerous as it affects your relationship with God. So when you talk about worry, when God says don't worry, it doesn't mean don't plan. You plan. But if you start getting worried about what you're going to eat tomorrow, which is more related to even one of them being poor planning in most cases, then you're going to get worried, and then you are going to be affected negatively in your mind, and your relationship with God will be affected. That's why Matthew 6 says that. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry what you're going to wear. That's right. God will take care of it. I'm going to rush. I just mentioned earlier that hard work, laziness, and planning. So the two, you can look at hard work, laziness. You can see the three of them. They don't go along together. Hard work goes with planning, and laziness is something which are completely out. So this way, our young people must learn to work very, very hard. Very, very hard. The soul of a lazy man, as you know, is desires and have nothing, but soul of the diligent shall be made rich. The lazy desire what hard-working people want, They're lazy, but they want a house, they want a car, they want this and that, but lazy, not willing to work. let's not overemphasize this. You know about the ends, ne? The ends, we'll go to the ends and see what they are able to do. And then let's keep this one for now. Now, you remember Joseph's principle. Joseph's principle. Joseph went to Egypt as a slave almost. Was sold by his brothers. He ended up in Egypt at the top there and being responsible. But Joseph, even people from Canaan came and looked for food in Egypt. Because during the time of plenty, Joseph managed to keep food. During the time of need, you can come closer, please. You are not disturbing us. Don't be too humble. Can come and sit in front here. I'm just irritating you. Elder Sambu, I know she wants to. You're not going to go out. Come. Let's sit here and discuss. I just want us to discuss, man. This is a tough call. Who can answer it for me? Can I answer it, if you don't mind? I think it's the hospital call. My apology. No, that's right. Sorry for that. Now Joseph did something which I like very much. Yeah, that's right. Now Joseph, when there was a time of plenty, he kept everything sealed, every city in Egypt, and make sure that he planned for the tomorrow. And then everybody else in all the cities, they were just eating as things come in. They were eating as the food comes. They ate until they finish. Yeah, so I'm being troubled a bit. So my apology again. I should be able to sort it to finish quickly. Now I was trying to say, Joseph. I wish we can have Josephs. You see, Joseph sat down when he was put on top there. He sat down and planned and say, he didn't know that famine is coming. He says, in the case famine come, I'm going to put everything in every city, make sure that during the time of plenty, we're not going to eat everything. There was a lot of food. They didn't throw a party. They managed to make sure that they've put the food in they put the food in the right place and they waited. When the famine tried the whole place, including everywhere else, Joseph was not worried. Was not worried. This is why God said, don't worry about tomorrow. This man would not get worried. He slept nicely with no issues because he has planned for tomorrow. When famine came, as you remember the story, the event, people, even his brothers, went to him unaware. But there is food in Egypt where we can go, and others even, almost was buying with anything they could come across because the food was there. Now, what I'm trying to emphasize is that the wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools grab theirs down. In other ways, the wise keep the food and save it. But the ones who are not wise, they eat everything. And then, if you look at this book here, who can read it, the International Version? Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 1 to 6, before we go to... Because I want us as a church, the reason why we present this, I want us as a church to have what we call investment mentality with our children. So that we know we've got a property worth 4 or 5 million, which we just bought. That property is a serious investment. It's not just a place of worship. It's a serious investment. And we must look at it this way, that to say we must have investment mentality, to say in a situation like where we are with this property, the question would be, how do we increase the value of the property? And then we know very well, whatever we are going to do there, it is for our grandchildren. Now, the second thing which I want to mention before we read here, I want to make sure that all of us, when we go to work, even those who still have little children like this ones, the young ones, I don't want you to us to reach a stage where when we don't go to work for our children. We must be going to work and invest for these children's children. These ones must be covered already. But we must be, so that when they start working at this age, and they start time for them to work and invest, they must not be working for themselves, but they must be busy working for their grandchildren. Because their grandchildren, their own children, shall have been covered by the investment of their fathers. Are we together? That's right. That's what the Bible says. A wise man is the one who put inheritance for his grandchildren. So it's not for his children. These little ones, when you go to work, don't go and work for them. No. Think about this child having a family with children. These are the people you are investing for. And then when you invest for their children, this one's children, the time they work, they are not going to work for themselves because they are being covered, because their parents have done it. They are not going to work for their children. Their children are covered. They are going to work for their grandchildren. So this is the Bible principle, and us to get it. And therefore, it means we must, as a church, as families and as individuals, go all over and work very strategically and make sure that we plan for these children's children. One day somebody, a family member, he was saying to me, he's thinking a little bit backwards. He says, hey, you people are working very hard. No, don't know what we're working for our grandchildren. These ones, they are busy working, they will sort themselves out. Their children are more important now. Did you get what I'm saying? That's right. And therefore, if we do that, as a family as we are, How can we not buy 200 shares for 16,000? That's just, I mean, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, now we have to go to our church where we are going to worship, and then we got a quotation this today. They say 16,000 rand for 200 shares. Are we supposed to worry? We are not supposed to worry. No, we're supposed to tell them to deliver them on Monday. Because we are not, whatever we are doing, we are not even working for ourselves. We should be working for our grandchildren. It means we are already covered. You have no issues. God has done everything. He has given us a focus, and we are fine. Do you get what I'm saying? This is why it's very, very important that we must be policemen. We must be like Joseph. When you are in the house discussing life in the house, don't you find yourself arguing about buying bread? No. That shouldn't be an issue. No, that's right. You should be talking about serious things to say. And you'll see, when we are able to do what I'm discussing here, there will be none in the church, our church members, who can sleep without food. Because the resources will be available to us. Can you read that verse very quickly? Then we continue. We're going to finish. The chapter 11, verse 1 to 6. We just read it very. I don't know whether we've got the chapter. Very, 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 very interesting chapter. And I wish I think you can go home and sit and read it again and again. Which version is that? NIV. Who's going to read? We're going to read.
It says, ship your grain across the sea. After many days, you may receive a return. Invest in 7 ventures. Yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. If clouds are full of water, they pour rain on the earth. Whether a tree falls to the south or to the north, in the place where it falls, there it will lie. Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. As you do not know the path of the wind, or how the body is formed in a mother's womb, so you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle. For you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well.
Now, this is what we call offshore investments, and we call it asset allocation. Now, we'll talk about it just now. No, asset allocation. Like, for example, the church has invested in property. Is invested in property. It's one of the assets. Now, it's going to depend now on what the church wants to do. Do you want to get an income from your asset, or do you want a capital growth from your asset? It will depend on, or you need both. Then it will depend. If you need both, if you need one of them, then you must have a strategy on what you are going to do. This is why, as we are sitting here, you know, some people will stand here and stay. You must invest. You're going to have a problem. You'll have a problem because you see, there must be a reason why you do certain things. Like we're sitting here, we've got different ventures we are in, with a certain objective, which will never be the same. This is why I always prefer that in the church, like Lyttelton Church where we are, share your ideas. Share what you are doing. It's not boasting. Share it. Somebody will realize, oh, yes, I thought I was putting this in this. No, this is also possible. Let me also try, because I want to reach this objective, but I was not sure how to do it. Then we all grow together. So this verse is very, very important. It talks about asset allocation. and offshore investment. But remember one thing, wealth gained dishonestly will diminish, but he who gathers by labor will increase. Week after week, and days after days of saving. Very, very important. Don't forget. Now, this one, we don't have to get into this one for now, but what I wanted to mention here is about number 2, whoever gathers money little by little, make it grow. Yes. Yes.
Working collectively or of empowering each other. That one could also argue that Joseph could not have done it by himself, planting all of that and putting up the barns. While he was the owner of the idea, at the end, the work of collecting, of planting and farming, firstly, was a collective across all of Egypt. And the whole saving and the whole camping, the whole collection and storing. So I'm thinking, how then could we then apply it from saying, well, Elder Mash, maybe you are there where you are now working for your grandchildren. You did say, someone asked and you said you are working for your grandchildren. Here is Elder Soko still working for himself. He is not at Hadassah yet. He's struggling even for Hadassah, let alone the grandchildren. Similarly, how then do we move from individual goals to collective goals as a group and empowering each other?
And anyway, but remember, that's right. But remember. This is just one of them that we are trying to empower each other. We never asked what are you doing? What do you do? What is happening? No. If that happens, I remember one day we talked about it because I had to ask him exactly what is happening. Because of and then next time it will be somebody else. Then he's going to ask somebody else, and with the aim of saying, can I add value here? Yeah, can I add value on what this man is doing? If you can add more value, you can just encourage him. So you are doing very well. Please keep up the good work. The next time you go to the next one, then let's do it for each other. And if we can do that, doesn't it be very formal where people are sitting here meeting? So we always communicate and say, hey, man, what is going on? And I know others do it for each other. So what my encouragement is, as we are discussing this, don't try to be successful in secret. You are going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem, yes. Don't try to be successful in secret. You're going to have a problem. You're going to have a challenge. That's right. Don't do it in secret. If you can try to do it in secret, it's like what? I usually when I teach at the school, I tell the students and say, when you go and work, when you don't find information and sit in a corner and say, hey, I want to show them when you go for exam. That is the information that is going to escape your mind when you go to the exam. Because you are the only one who know it. And you think that by not talking about it, it will stick in you. It will not. It will escape. This is why at the universities we always encourage group discussions. Because for the same thing, share with others so that it can stick here. When you are going to write, it will come out nicely. And usually, you know what God does? If nothing comes out, nothing comes in. You can become bigger and bigger alone, but things will not, there will be no extra information coming. Because you are fools, you are fine. There's nothing coming out not to go and change other people's lives. It is very, very important. So just so that because of time, but what I was trying to say, when you talk about, this is talk about saving. But you ever gather money little by little. No, it's not theft. You gather it little by little, it grows. For example, let's say you give this child about 50 rand, né? And he takes out the offering tithe, fine. And then he maybe remains with 50 rand, maybe remains with 35 rand or so. And then the child put money in at the right place. He put 10 rand at this age, at the right place. Every month, you will be shocked what is going to happen when the child goes to matric. You'll be surprised. Because the money grows, you put 10 rand, it can bring 1 rand for next month. It's 11 rand. The following month, this is what we call the power of compounding. I think you heard about it. It increases in number now and again. And then until, so this is what we should always teach these little ones here. Now, that's fine. This is what I wanted to ask you to discuss. As a church, and as individuals, and as families, we always say to people, encourage, hey, please do it, man. Go and invest. One day, I loved that day when we even had argument on invest in farms. You remember the story when we were discussing. Now, it's not a problem. That's not an issue. But the main issue is, if I sit down with Elder Soko and we talk investment, let's say he says, what can I do? The next question I'm going to ask him, where do you want to go? Then he says, you know what, in the next 5 years, I want to be a short-term investor in the next three years. This is what I want to do. And then I'm going to ask him, where are you now? If he doesn't know where he is now, he's got a big problem. Because you will not know where you are going if you don't know where you are now. So you have to assess yourself now. This is why some people get surprised. You want to buy a house, né? With a bond. The bank send the forms. Can you fill your assets, expenses, and expenditure, and income and expenditure? It's the first time he realized that he's on a negative, you know? Because the bank is forcing him. He says, he doesn't do it every month, you know, in the house. He does because somebody needs it. The bank says, okay, let's start. How many properties do you have? I've got 1 house. What is your income? My income is so much. What is your expenditure? My expenditure is so much. Subtract expenditure from your total income or your total assets. You know, you find that no, I'm negative by 50,000 rand. Then that night you will not sleep. Because you know, in reality, by definition, you are bankrupt. You got nothing. Because your assets, our income are far less than your income. I mean to say, far less than your expenditure. So your expenditure is more. So you got a negative balance. I remember there was this lady when we were in a church somewhere else. Now those days, you know, it was tough because those days we would visit people from house to house. If you don't come to a church business meeting, we go to your house. We want to know, why didn't you come? We couldn't have a quorum because of you, but you are a church member. So you are retarding church progress. What is your problem? Strict on quorum. That's right. We postpone the meeting today. We go for all church members. They must explain what happened. No. One day we got in somebody's house. He was having a big papa and a chicken. He was busy eating. Hey, sir, we're waiting for you in the business meeting. You are busy eating here. You've got a problem. That's right. but we postponed the meeting because of you. You are a problem. If you are not ready to remain a church member, then resign then. We don't have to count you. We don't have to count you. Because if we count you, you are causing us a problem. Now we went into this lady's house. We arrived, when we sat down, you said, oh, we didn't see you at church. They say. Then she thought we were talking about tithe and offerings. She ran to the bedroom, came with a salary advice from work. Say, I says, elders, don't be surprised when the tithe is not coming. Just see. He's earning 20,000 rand. But at the end of the month, he remains with 2,000 rand. And then that is excluding even the money for food and anything else. Yes, take funeral covers, life covers, everything is mixed up. But he has taken things in her life which will make her suffer now. She can't even buy food, but she wants to have a very decent funeral. That's that. So what I'm trying to say is, it's very, very important that as we teach these little ones, you know this little one here? When you start to know about money, when you start to give the child money, save little by little. It will grow. It will grow. The last part of our discussion as a church, but why do we have to invest? You know what? Obviously, it's planning for the future. No, we are planning for the future. Now you have to put different. Remember, we are different here. We must put different scenarios. You're not going to find a 30-year-old and investing like a 50-year-old. No, it won't happen. A 30-year-old can lose money, he will recover it. You know, there is this man, you know what he did? He retired. After retiring, he bought a bakkie with the retirement money. Cash, put it in the garage with the aim of running some small business where he's going to sell vegetables and so on. But he saw the market. All the money in the bakkie. When he woke up in the morning, the bakkie was not there. The whole pension disappeared overnight. That's a poor planning. In other words, he is 65 years old. No? He is investing in a very high-risk asset. That's right, a very high-risk asset. He's got a problem. Another one does the same thing. Retires. After retiring, he buys about 10 kettles. And kettle, he says, I'm going to do for me. Now 10 kettles. Then he put them there. 2 weeks down the line, he comes back, they are not there. They are gone. They are gone. So there is a very high-risk investment and a very low-risk investment, depending on your age. Now, this is what we talk about. You talk about asset mix and asset allocation. Or asset allocation is very, very, very crucial. For example, we are a church. We are not, the church doesn't get old or young. You see, we are a church. Now, we can't sit in a meeting and then invest church money at a very high risk. If it disappears, you'll all fight. It must be in an area, place where it's a low risk, but for a long time. Where, unfortunately, if it's at a low risk for a long time, we will not manage to beat inflation. Fine. But then we must have mixture. And then the church members must then be taught asset allocation and asset mix, because they must know that the time we lose in asset A, we will gain in asset B to cover the loss in asset B. In asset A. You are not going to start fighting about something which doesn't make sense, and say, oh, we got a property of about 5 million rand. It's worth about 5 million rand. But treasurer, just see, we just lost 2,000 rand. You can see we are fighting for nothing. Ne? You've gained on one side, you lose on one side. This is the whole game. But let me just rush very quickly what should happen. Now, as a church, we've got an NPC and we have got us as individuals, as a church, we say we want our children, these ones, when this boy will be an elder, he must find an asset which he will build on for the grandchildren who will be in that church. The question is, when we build that church, that property, we develop it, it's not for us, it's for our grandchildren who will occupy it and be in the leadership. Don't be selfish and say, no, man, you know what? I can't do anything there. I'm too old. You'll have a problem. You've got a problem. I'm too old, I'm just want to relax. And then, no. Remember the little ones coming, the next second generation to come, that they must be there and enjoy their stay there. We're finishing just now. Now, when you want to mix assets, you want to allocate your assets, you must answer a few questions here, as I say. But you must remember, one question is how much capital you have in shares, property, cash, and bonds. Now, every person's asset allocation, as I mentioned, will be different. Your asset mix is the most important factor determining your success as an investor. Now, the two questions is, are you investing for growth, capital growth, or for income? These are the two questions you must always answer, if as a church or as an individual. What exactly am I doing? Don't get excited about, you know what? They are. I want to invest. You know what are you doing? I want to buy cattle. And then what about the cattle? I've never been a farmer before, but I'm going to practice. You would not even, when they get sick, you'll get lost. You don't even know where to take them. Because that's right. So this is why you must always have what you call asset mix. One day I was talking to him and Moyo in the meeting, and then saying to them, you don't know how happy are the church members in Lyttelton Church. Because most of us used to feel very guilty when you get into your car, going to your house, coming from a rented property. I don't know whether you feel, for an example, one day I visited a church, I found people sitting on the chairs, Is that a chair? This church which you use in the crèche? The small ones. Yeah, they are rented in a school. They are sitting on those small chairs, and the big cars are parked outside. There's nothing wrong with the cars, just a poor planning. Now they are sitting there. They are sitting on that chair, where you can even fall. That chair is very small. It's for those little ones. But they are sitting on this chair to worship God, the Almighty. And then they are sitting there, and then with a clear conscience, when they finish, into the car, into my nice house. You don't know how many people in this church has been feeling so bad. I remember when we were in the church board one day, you could see how bad people are feeling when we were chased up and down. Now, I want us as a church, when we develop that place and we look at our investment strategies, I want you to be happy to drive to a house. Because God has got a property where the church can worship. When you buy your new car, don't worry, drive it there and happily so. Don't even feel guilty and say, I'm driving this car, but remember, we are even from Enighegarek, they even chased us away. We don't know where to worship this Sabbath. but you've got a car there with no number plate, you're just coming from the there's nothing wrong, but you can see our priorities. I used to feel very bad. I'm telling you, even when people ask you, where are you worshiping? Are you still worshiping at Tech Base? You look down. This is why when we got the property, we were so excited. We had to run. When this church members managed to raise almost 2 million within 2 weeks, I said, these people were feeling guilty for not getting a property. They were feeling very bad. They said, let's run with it. So, when we are going to invest as a church, we can then decide, do we invest for growth or we invest for income? If it's for growth, obviously, capital growth, you will put shares and property. Who understand what the bonds are? I think you know what the bonds are, ne? Remember, the bonds, it's like when you take a bond of your house, you get it? The bank borrows you money. You understand, ne? The bank borrows you money, and you go and buy property. The property is registered in your name, but the bank keeps the title deed because they are the owner of the money. You get it? You pay the bond, you are paying until you finish. When you are finished, you decide whether you close it. If you close it, then you can take back your title deed and keep it in your house, in a safe place. That property is yours. Now, when coming to the bonds, what you do, you register. Let's say government bonds, for example. There are many different types of bonds. Let's use government bonds as an example. You go to Treasury, then you register. After registering, you borrow the government money. You borrow the government money, and then after borrowing the government money, you charge the interest. In other words, the more money you put, and the higher for example, if you've got bonds, and then the interest rate is going up, you are very excited. People are busy shivering when the bonds are going up, and then you are excited. You say, hey, the interest rate is going up, so it means I'm going to get more interest from the money I've borrowed the government. Do you get it? No? Very, very important. You put it in there. You put the money there, can increase it. Very, very safe. That money is very safe. Put the money there, keep it there. Every month they will send you a statement. You can even check it yourself. You see money coming in addition to what you have put in, because the interest rate is high. So it's the safest investment, understand? Money markets, like for example, when you've got in a church environment like that, you can put money market. You put money, you've got a church account. You go to the computer, you link your church account with the money market account, you push all the money into the money market account, and then the running costs remain in the normal bank account. You will see how much that money generates. You can find yourself, the church running on a monthly basis on the interest from the money market. That's why I always say, let's not eat the seed, let's eat the fruit. Because if you eat the seed, you go and plant. If you go and plant from there, when you are done, time for harvesting come. You harvest, eat everything and this, everything. Next year, how you're supposed to plant, you're going to be shocked. Where are those seeds, man? But you have eaten everything. So when you do invest, you don't eat the seed, you eat the fruit. Now, you can find yourself, you've got maybe 10,000 rand, 50,000 rand in the money market account. Every month it gives you something, and you use that money to do what? To run the day-to-day activity, but the seed remained there. So this is what we call asset allocation, asset mix. I'm going to finish so that we can have a short discussion and we close. Now, there are 3 basic factors to determine your asset allocation. One is, how long do you plan to invest? Remember, you can't say when you are, it's like these people who go and get a bond. The man is 50 years old or 55. You go and get a bond to be paid for 20 years. You've got a problem. Because if you're going to pay for 20 years and you are 50, by the time you finish that bond, you are 70. unless you've got a strategy on how to deal with it. And then you find that is your first house. 20 years to go. When you are 50, when you are 60, you take a bond, 20-year bond. By the time you finish, you are 80. You are not normal. You got a problem. And this is just purely strategies. How long do you want to plan? Call it an investment term. As a church, if you put that property there, how long do you want to keep it as it is? And how much do you want to add? And for how long? We can't just go there and walk in there and worship and sing songs every day and enjoy ourselves there. It must increase in value. It must increase in value. But in 5 years to go, where do we want to see that property to be? That must be the plan. Where do you want to see it be? Huh? And how hard your money should work. In other words, what is your required growth? How do you want it to grow? The money must work hard. Your emotional ability to tolerate losses. Now, we call it the risk tolerance. There are people who, if they lose money, they go to the hospital for admission. Because they have got a very low risk tolerance. They just put money there, and then suddenly put money there, 20,000 rand. And when the market drops, 20,000 rand becomes 16,000. What happened to my 4,000 rand? Then you start rolling down on the floor and you go to the hospital. So if you have got a very low risk tolerance, you don't invest in risk places because you can lose all the money and then you can commit suicide because your risk tolerance is very, very low. So that is very, very crucial. It's very, very crucial. Your risk tolerance is very, very crucial to the. And you must know your risk appetite, your appetite on investment. But what is my appetite here? What is my risk tolerance? Now, as a church, we know that our risk tolerance is low. It's low, risk tolerance, as a church. Because remember, we are a community. No, we are a family. We are a community. You will not put the church at a very high risk, where when we lose everything, it causes the church a big problem. It's a family. No. That's right. And then the investment, I'm finishing, then we can discuss. Now, this is very, very important. Investment term is very, very important. Long-term investors, more than 5 years. And you don't need any income from your investment. No, you just put everything, 75% to 95% in shares. And the balance, you keep it in shares for emergency. This is the 20-year-old, 25-year-old, the 30-year-olds. These young people, unfortunately, I hope they're not doing like what those children were doing. They already start living in debt. They go and borrow sweets. That when mommy give money, I'll pay. They are like that. So this is where these young ones belong. No? 75 to 95% of their money you want to invest, you put it in shares. And then the remaining one balance, you put it in cash for emergency. We don't want a situation where there is a crisis, you start getting into trouble. You must save for emergency. Short-term investor, 3 years or less. That's no money in shares. It must be in cash. It must be where it is very, very safe, where you can get it back. And we know when it is in this situation, obviously you know it can't beat inflation, but you know the capital you have put there, it is still safe. Lastly, 3 to 7 years, that covers everything, 5 years also, and the 3 years. 3 to 7 years investors. 50% in shares, 25% in bonds, 25% in cash. Remember you are spreading, so that when one goes down, another one catches up. That's the last one. If you are young and need capital growth, most of your money should be in shares and property companies. So, in other words, remember you are young, you can still lose, but you spread it. Now, close to retirement and in financial difficulties, Remember, there are people who are going for retirement, but they are frightened. Remember, when you are young, you never think you'll ever retire. You will run like nothing. You don't think you'll ever retire. You always feel very, very active, energetic. You can run marathon. And then suddenly you are 55 years old. And then you have been having this investment. They say to you, we can, the broker says, we can retire you. I said, okay, you can retire me. Yes. And then we say, how much will I get on retirement? If you retire me, I will give you 1/3 of what you have put in there, in your retirement annuity. And you say, yeah, I need it. They go and take it out. But the other one, which remains there, it will be for your monthly income. And then you put a monthly income there, and they retire you, you get 500,000 rand, another month remain there, which you will never get in cash. Then they start paying you 2,000 rand per month. You will get depressed. You've been saving for the past 35 years, but you're going to earn 2,000 rand per month because you didn't put your retirement properly. You didn't control your retirement, but somebody determined to retire you. You've got a problem, a serious one. This is why the person will say, we can retire you. Because he has got, yes, you in the hands. You are not in charge. After that, no, we can give you 17% of your remaining amount every month. Yes, fine. We will give you 3,000 rand per month. And then you undergo depression. And the time is ticking. You don't know what is going to happen next. The time is ticking, you are getting older. But you have never planned. One day when you talk about retirement, not now, we will work around it and see. Now, but this person will put small portion in shares with a bulk in government bonds and cash. So in other words, you put the money in a very safe place where the money will be safe. The money will be safe. Now I'm going to, because of time, let's conclude. Well, but when you do that, don't forget God. If you forget God, your relationship with money will kill you. Store your treasure in heaven, where there is no thief. He who is gracious to the poor lends to the Lord. He will repay for his good deed. So when you invest, when you are busy strategizing and managing, don't forget the needy. And there is this young man, he's attending church somewhere. You know what he does? He's the only professional in the church. When people want lift, they go to him. The whole place, the whole church, He's the only guy here is there. When he speaks, the church keeps quiet. One day I called him. I said, "Sir, how many people are professional in your church?" He says, 2. We are 2. I said, okay. And how many church members do you have there? We are about 50-something. It's a small church. Okay. Then I said to him, "You are in a wrong church." He said, "Why? I can't leave these people." I said, "Hey, you've got a problem. You've got a problem. Why have you got a problem? Go and worship with your peers. When you park your car, there must be another one better than yours. So don't find yourself being the only car in the area. When you speak, everybody keeps quiet. You must reach a stage where when you come with your car with no number plate, nobody can see it. Then you are in the right place. Hey, the man was depressed. That's right. Because for example, when you come with your nice car here, please don't feel bad when people don't see it. It's not because it's nothing to do with the car. No, it's nothing to do with it. We take it as a resource, and a resource to bring you an income. It's not as a resource to boast about it. This is why I always tell people, when you buy a car that doesn't bring an income, you've got a problem. Because the car you buy, if the installment is less than the money it makes, you've got a challenge. A very serious one. Because it means that the car is just consuming. We buy a car to go to work. And if the money you pay for an installment is far more than what this car makes as you go to work daily, then you've got a problem. This is why it is not meant for boasting. It is meant to bring income for the family. I hope we're together. So it's very, very important. So even here, we must make sure that when you've got resources, think the people in need. And then, that's why this rich young ruler, go and sell your things, come and follow me. The man was very angry. And he left. He says, no ways, I'm not going to sell my things. It was just a test of a relationship between this man and his assets. Jesus wanted to see what happens there. Church, because of time, one day we'll sit down here and discuss retirement, which some of you think they will never retire because they're still young and active. And then we'll discuss that. But as a church, is there any question so far? Any quick question and comment? Any question and comment? No? Although we were busy commenting as we were going on. Mm-hmm. Yes. Any comment on the question is fine, yes.
Mine is a comment, too, actually. I like to give the analogy of a river and a dam. In a river, you find fresh fish, clean water, and it's all good and nice. But in a dam, that's where you find frogs, dirty water, that's stale. So this analogy is for those that give others and those that just collect. That's why the Bible says it is better to what? To give. Cast your bread upon the waters. After many days you shall what? You shall find. So actually those that are more liberal in giving tend to be more wealthier and I'm trying to look for the word. That those that give tend to be more financially stable than those that what? That collect. But those that collect are the ones that actually suffer from a lot of stress, minimum growth, and all the vices and problems are found in there. Now, the second comment was a question that was asked by our elder Lyttelton, when he was saying, when do we start to say, okay, now this is the point? From my experience, I hope my wife won't beat me up for this. From my experience, God does give us opportunities to start, to save, to live within your means, to build for the future. Some, for others, they come after prayer, God deliberately, and then your life. In our case, we actually had a bankruptcy last year. Which it was a reset pattern. We, as you are saying, this first life, we're driving big cars, living in a big house. Our expenses were just all over the place. Hit by a bankruptcy, and for the first time this year, we are actually having savings going up because that reset button was pressed. We are squashed in our NP 200 with my family, and I'm fine with it. Obviously, but it's because we've reached that point to say, no, but we need to live in a manner that's sustainable for the future. So now savings is coming. So I think in prayer, if you recognize that, you know what, you are not going to work forever, People do make the mistake of thinking that they will go the long haul. We need to start now building up for the future. Prayerfully, God presents the and sometimes it may be the difficult one of the bankruptcy itself. It's fine. I mean, to me, I look at it now as a blessing, my elder. I'll be very honest with you. What my expenses were last year, it was madness. Yeah.
The young man was on fire with the expenses. No, it's true. It happens. Yeah, and then you recognize it, turn around, and then this is where. Yes, Sister Samba, I'll come back to you. This is why it becomes very crucial. You can imagine, and then things strike. No, after things strike, you're trying to downgrade. And the mommy says it will never happen. You understand what I'm saying? That in other ways, it means what the plan in the house, if you do things together, everybody will see. Like those people who hide salary. And you hide salary from there, you see your wife, hey, let's downgrade. Or no, but are you sick? I thought we've got a lot of money. I thought you've got a lot of money. You are working every day, you come here. Now you talk about downgrading. What are you talking about? But when you do things together, that's just family life issues. You do things together, everybody knows what is going on. By the time you sit down and say, hey, things are not adding up, you both see them. Then you say, let's go this direction. Well and good. Sister Sambo. Yes. You wanted to say something?
Thank you so much, Elder Mash, for this presentation. I think each time you talk about these things, I ask myself, I wish I knew this when I was young. Now I'm old and chasing time, and for some who are of my age, you do things like it's an emergency. It has to happen now because I need to be kicked out or I need to go and retire. So I think for the young ones, this is an opportunity. If you want to start, if you ask me, I'll tell you that if I knew this, I would have started a long time ago. But the time we were active and earning money, we were busy paying school fees for our children. So I hope our children, if they are listening, they will be working for their grandchildren because we haven't worked for the grandchildren, unfortunately. The other thing is about eating this. Is it keeping the seed and eating the fruit? Our grandparents, I'm talking about my grandmother, I think they were wise then. Because each time when they were planting, they were not going to the shops to buy the seed. So they would keep the seed every year and they would plant that. But now, if we look at the food we're eating today, we call it, is it GMO or whatever? We always buy from the shops. The seed is completed. And it's our generation that has removed that thing because our parents were wise. Coming to investment, I wanted to say, I wish I had met some brothers and sisters whom can invest together. I haven't yet seen those ones yet. The time we knew the brothers from church, they would invite you for something. They would call it investment. But at the end, it wasn't an investment. It was like they want to swindle you. So we have had brothers who would invite you to things like nice things. But at the end, when you look deep, it's not about you investing. It's about you biting you. Now, how do I know if you come to me, you want us to invest? And it's not that, because it has happened a lot to others. I know those people have been swindled by their own brothers in the church.
You know the reason why the people would scam you, and you end up in a situation where you don't want to find yourself. I'll use this one. Think about it. The reason why people will be like that is because most brethren don't have goals. You attend things with no idea where you are going. Now, if you've got a goal, as we mentioned previously, you've got a goal, you are going from point A to B. The wind that comes on the side should not derail you. You can't be robbed. I remember I attended a meeting some times back. After attending a meeting, suddenly I get a lot of phone calls. Don't you want to come to another meeting? And then that meeting is about 3,000 rand to attend. But there's nothing wrong, right? But they should disclose ahead of time. Don't catch people. Disclose and say, this is how I run my business. This is going to lock off, but it doesn't matter. The battery is flat. Yeah, we're just discussing now. The reason why we get into trouble is because the problem is not with the person who invited you. The problem is you. Because you don't have what? We don't know where you are going. This is why these lessons to say, let's have a goal. Let's have a short-term goals, long-term goals. And let's have a strategies on how to meet the long-term goals and short-term goals. When I go and attend a meeting, called investment meeting, whatever, it must be me now to assess whether this meeting is falling within, is helping me to meet my goals. Are we together? That's right. If it doesn't meet my goals, throw it away. Just go and listen and come back. You'll find a lot of calls coming. You say, no, but this one is not taking to where I'm going. I have got an objective. And then my objective is to meet them. This is what I need to do. Then you do it. And this is the only reason which I can give to say, please have your own personal goals as individuals. For an example, we've got a property as a church. No? We planned for it a long time ago. Remember those children who were used to collect offerings? We thought those 5 rand, 10 rand, it was too small. No? And then we said, remember this committee building and so on, we were given 6 years. But the first 3 years, we struggled. We even went into a meeting one day where we were stranded, we were confused. We got into the board. The board says, we don't want anything in far. We need something very close. Go and look for it. We went and sat down and said, hey, there's trouble here. The money is there. The church says they want their property in this direction. We cracked our brain, and then we went to the meeting again. But hey, we are not looking for anything far. We need something close. And the reason why we took it so positive is because we know if Adventist man doesn't have funds in his budget, okay? It's the responsibility of the stewardship department. The elders have got the right to come in the church board and say, hey, people, wake up. Go and work. We need money here. We need money. Go and make a plan. Our department, the aim is not just to sit here and then talk about other things without which we don't make the church to progress. That's why immediately that property came in, we said, here we are going to go in here with our heads. And then let's see what happens, but we are going to get in here. The first visit we went there, we said, this is the place. And the church went, we were very happy. The church went there. I said to Elder, I said, hey, people are very happy. Everybody went there. We are very happy. This is the place. We said, Elder, call the church board very quickly in the business meeting. And everybody voted. We were very happy. We said, this is the time. Then we said, we have to work very hard, all of us. You got that's an investment. The church says, we give you a goal, and that you must meet it. We're giving you the last chance. You have to get it. And you can see now, if you've got a goal, sister, you've got a goal, there shouldn't be anything to derail you. But the reason why we get confused in the midst of everything is because we are going somewhere, but we don't know where we are going. And everybody takes an advantage of it. We'll have to close now because of time. What is that, Mike? Yeah, that's right.
And well, my comment now is for the retirees.
Okay.
The retirees.
Yes.
Those approaching retirement. You know, if it were possible to actually have a study for them specifically as a group. Because I've actually met some situations, I think to date, some three situations where people get to retirement, they suddenly want to invest in a project with that package. At that point, it's late. It's late. I actually, just last week, were to stop one who took his package, got a gold mine in Zim, poured all of it into it. And now he calls last week and he now wants to sell his assets to go and what? And pour again. It will be late at that point to get into any project. People must understand the lifestyle of a business. That any business in the first 5 to 7 years is going to change 3 to 4 times before it actually makes any money. So if you plow in all your money in the first year, you still have some 5 to 6 years to go before that business can actually start making money. And if it's the last check, you are dead in the water. And then the second one was another old man again. He wanted to start an agriculture project. He put up all the infrastructure for the project, sunk a bore only to find that there's no water down there. All the money is gone. And how he's surviving now is he is piping water from his neighbors to eat. The project is now a white elephant seated there, no water. If he was young, we would say he must go and make a plan to make it. But now it's at the end, at retirement. So I think, Elder, the retirement group needs a lesson as much as we also were coming through, so that we prepare adequately for that period.
Thank you very much. I think that's what we will do. But anyway, even we will. It will be very nice to start even the young ones, because if you plan badly now, and you don't structure your things properly now, you know what will happen? Let me tell you something. What will happen? What will happen is that you will work very. Remember, we are professionals here. Ne? Most of us here are professionals, and then you will work very hard. Ne? Work very hard. Work with poor planning. Very poor planning. And as you work, things mixed up. And you just die. Ne? This wife and the little ones, this disaster. You are going to find uncles and uncles coming from Zim, ne? Coming to repossess their brothers' assets. Africans don't waste time. And if you don't plan properly, you will just make the little ones and I'm telling you, or you know, or no, and you don't plan properly. Things are messed up and not planned properly. Ne? Just get into the car and die with your wife. And then the uncle will come and say, I will look after them. These are my children, my brother's children. He takes all the assets and go and drink them. You are starting a generation of poverty after working so hard, because these little ones, they will still need care. And if your assets are not protected, they are gone forever. And the Bible says so. Work very hard and people come and fight for them because of poor planning. So you need to start it now. It's not, you know, I'm telling you, I remember one day, you know, I've got a very difficult family. You know, some people just do their own things. When my children were growing, I had to work very hard to make sure that things are safe, because I knew that people were going to come and say, we will look after these children, and it will never happen. Wherever these children are going to school, they will get out of school and go to a funny school under the tree somewhere. The uncle eating the money. You will not be there. I'm telling you, if you can sit down and think about it, and because this is why young people think they're living forever. Things just happen, and the children, small as they are, they get messed up forever. This is why when we talk about asset protection, retirement asset protection, this is where it comes in. Now nice here, we are happy here. Ne? We are happy here. Just drive and hit a tree and you die together. And 2 children or 1 child remain. That poverty starts because things are not properly protected. But you worked very hard. You've got things, money is there. Companies are there. They are still functioning. They are working very well. But the owner of the company is not there. There is a 10-year-old child. The uncle comes and says, I will run these things. I will help my brother's children. Finished. You are done. So in the future, when we get time, it'd be very nice to discuss these things openly. So, and when you realize that life is real and tough, sit down with your wife and draft a will, if not yet. And when you start writing, things start ringing in your brain. Could you realize already these things are real? Because the will tell you, will ask you a question. If you die now, what's going to happen to your wife? You get confused. No, because it is real. You can just get out of the house and never come back. If it happens now, what is going to happen? And I'm telling you, all of us, you can go home, sit down with your wife, those who are married, and say, if I die now, what's going to happen? You will see people sweating in the house because things are not in place. Now we're talking about investments which will be scattered everywhere with no protection. And then the man has got a farm there, and has got a house there, he's got 2 cars there, and has got 3 houses there. They are being rented, all of them. Just die, you'll see what will happen. As I said, you'll see uncles come with a kumbi from Zim. But says, you know what? This is our brother. Even I was also in the list of people who should assist him. Those days when I was bringing him up, this is what happened. Can you borrow us this car? It never come back. And then you've got nothing to protect it. You've got a big problem. So this is Africa. And then if things are not in place, and you've got assets, you've got money, you've got this and that, you have got a big, big, big problem. This is why even in the church, we got a property there. You see that property we bought. The constitution we have will have to be reviewed every year. Things are changing. Every year the constitution gets renewed. You see, get revised. Because it's an investment for our children. They get it revised so that we are all happy that if this elder is not there, he's not running away with a signature. You understand? Everybody understands that this man is here, but he's not a permanent person. If he's not there, it doesn't matter, we put another one. We are all happy and safe, feel safe, all of us. But how is this NPC run? No, I don't know. No, you have to know. This is why I was talking to Elder Moyo. That title deed, we're going to have to share it with all the church members so that it must never disappear and we don't know where it is. Where the church flags are changing and suddenly we don't know where the minutes are. That title deed, we don't know where the copy is. But you've got a property that is going to be perpetual for the next 50 years when it will not be there. So these are what we call protecting the assets. So retirements and asset protection. Very, very crucial for us as a church and as individuals. As I'm saying, go home, sit down with your wife, the 2 of you. Children not there, they will be playing around there. My wife, if I die now, what is going to happen? Next question. If we die together simultaneously, what will happen to these children? This is where you will just see yourself sweating. And you will realize how irresponsible you had been for many years. For many years. It's just by God's grace that things don't happen. But let's plan very well so that at the end, as we go along, as a church and as families, we don't leave people, our children disorganized, our wives and so on, confused because of poor planning. So one day, God willing, we will get a time as stewardship department, and then we have got then we can discuss more other issues. Retirement in particularly. Retirement is very, very crucial, and asset protection. How do you protect your asset? We're talking about investment here. You're going to now start putting things in order, but are they protected? Are they safe? Let me tell you something today. What happened? If it is yesterday, I always talk to people. We don't want a situation where people say, Elder Soko, how did you buy your house? No, just work hard. Just work hard. If you work hard, you will manage. Hey, we need strategies. How did you manage? I found this doctor, is one of our colleagues. You know what he did? He did something very, very interesting. He's got a company which is running a business. This company is running a business. He's getting good income from the business. Then he takes money from the company. He buys himself 3 houses. Get it? Then he takes another money from the company. He buys the 2 houses for the company. Then he takes money from the company. He buys Porsche. Fine. Now I phoned him. I said, sir, how are you doing? He says, no, I'm doing well. You see. Okay, how are you managing? I said to him, this is what I'm doing. He explains. Very freely so. Because I usually talk to people generally, He explained. I said, hey, sir, you have got a problem. He said, why? I said to him, you just need a receiver of revenue to come and audit you. You are done. Because what you are doing is money laundering. It's not correct. This man never slept yesterday. He never slept because he was doing things ignorantly. He thinks he's doing the right thing. Then I asked him a question. Have you ever heard about what you call Section 42 company? I said, what is that? He spent half the night reading about it. Then he said to me, tomorrow morning, he woke up in the morning, at 6 o'clock, he phoned his accountant, and he says, we must sit and talk. He says to me, if he does not understand what I'm talking about, I'm leaving him, because I'm in trouble. Because I'm in trouble. Because the man has got money, but he's a poor, he doesn't know how to manage. The assets are scattered everywhere. And then I said to him, you must pray and pray very hard. We'll also pray for you. You must not die. Because if you can die, your family is in trouble. Because whatever you are doing, you are not doing it correctly. And it's the same as a lot of people who are running businesses. If SARS can knock, we've got a friend who what they do, SARS, receiver of revenue. If you buy a car more than R1 million, they've got people in the garages. This man bought a BMW more than, I think, 2 million plus. When he was going to fetch it, he found people waiting for him. SARS waiting for him at the garage. Then he asked, who are you? They laughed, And then they said, what are you talking about? Why do you laugh? But then from there the car came out, they were giving him the car. They looked at him, and then he said, he asked the same question, but what is happening here? but no, we are from SARS. They cleaned him up. Done. All the cars, the big cars, which were there. And he talks about it. He sold all of them. He sold all of them. He is in trouble. Another one somewhere closer, I don't mention the name now. You know what happened? He ran a business for many years. SARS knocked and said to him, you must pay us tomorrow. We need 50 million. He had to undergo a curatorship, and it's a confusion. Now, I'm trying to say it can happen to our church members with us. You know, if you read the stewardship, that book on stewardship, you know, it guides you on how to register about the trust and so on, how to do things, in addition to your other knowledge. But we cannot, as a church members, end up in trouble while there's knowledge available. So the world outside there is rough. Just make sure that your assets are properly placed, and then they're properly registered. And then these little ones, as they are growing, they are protected. I'm telling you, if you can say to yourself and say, I've got 1, 2, 3, 2 people I trust here. I've got an uncle somewhere, then I want you to be my manager of my trust. If I'm not there, you manage. If they don't manage, there's a police there who's going to guard them. They will go to jail. Yeah? It's like now. If we, let's say, for example, who are members of the NPC? Yourself, myself, and Sarombe, and the other 2. If any church member becomes unhappy and report us, we can go to jail and say the NP is not running properly. They have eaten the money. They go and search and find that in reality the money was eaten. Because NPC keeps public money. You go to jail. Yes. When we say the members of the NPC are the baptized members of the church, we mean they've got a right to say anything. If they are not happy, they will say it. If the money disappears to wrong places, they must be able to talk. They must be free to talk. And the directors will go to jail. This is what we call asset protection. So that asset you bought there is very well protected. It's not in anybody's name. It's in the name of the church. So when you talk about asset protection in your house, do the same. Protect your assets. Make sure that they are safe. Thank you very, very much. And I hope that when we get a time, we will be able to discuss more other issues which are relating to our life and our church. So church, we need 16,000 rand in the next 3 days. And then we have to buy chairs. On the 16th of this month, we are going to worship in our new place. And then, don't worry, let's just raise it. Let's raise it this weekend. Our asset is there too for us. We can't, as I said to you, when I get into the car going home, I'm very happy. I used to feel very guilty. I tell you, when in the past, when we were going to the board meeting, it was very stressful because I know when we arrive there, how far are you with buying the property? And then there is no, and we have been running around everywhere looking for place, and then there is nothing coming up. And when we go to the church board, Elder Soko says, I must look for a property closer here. They go home after that. And now we're going to a meeting, we crack our head. I said, we've got a problem here. One day we called a meeting, we called the pastor. Pastor, we've got a problem. The church needs a property closer. Remember, you can't resign. It's a crucial time. But no, I'm no longer part of this committee. No, you can't resign. You have to fulfill the mission. Remember, it's not your mission, it's the mission of the church. It's God's mission. So it's not yours. Now, at the moment, this church member sitting here, I'm telling you, after moving to your own property there, when you drive out, you will feel in you that it is fine. Because the property, God's property, is being looked after, and it is there. You don't leave God's property in shame and go to your nice houses. You will look after it. So as we are going to invest, put money in the property, and so on, worshiping together, let's do it, man. We can manage. Thank you very, very much. Anything, comment from the committee members? Are you fine? Everything is in order. Thank you very much. I think the program was well attended, and thank you very much for coming at the end, Elder. Maybe we could have a prayer time, because it's late. In fact, it's late. But let's make time, and let's make sure that we go home, and go and ask that question. As a father, when you arrive home, sit down, talk to your wife, if you are married. If I drive out and die, what's going to happen to this family? As a father. If the children are small, they are still growing. Ask, if we get into the car and we die together, what will happen to these children? And then after answering those questions, pray very hard and ask, let's pray for each other, that we sort ourselves out properly. God, as we read here, He wants us to plan. We should not worry. The tomorrow must not worry us. If we properly plan with God, tomorrow should not be a stress. So when we call you tonight, tomorrow, and we are looking for some money for the chairs, as the elders announced, please, in my last statement, please, church, we are not trying to brainwash you. No. We want you to reason. We know, remember, in the past, we used to attend meetings, some other places where they come and they preach to people and say, if you don't repent today, you are going to hell. And then people hand over themselves to Christ, are very fearful. When they realize that the hell is not coming, they stop. Because they never loved Christ. They were afraid of hell. So the hell is still far. They think these things are still fine. So our Adventist message is not brainwashing people. It's to make people think. And then whatever they do, they must do knowing exactly what they are doing. Okay? So when you talk about money now after this lesson, we are not trying to brainwash you, to say, hey, so that when you don't give money, you feel guilty and you can't sleep at night. No, we're not trying to say that. We're just saying to say, this is our church, this is our assets. From next month, this month onwards, we will frequently go and worship there. Let's make it a very comfortable place. Just the last thing, I'm sorry, Elder, we forgot something very, very important about the property there. Yeah, that's right. Number one, must know that we have got it can be discussed in the future, but we have made a decision, a committee and the elders, that there is a security company there. You remember, church board members, they will know. There is a security company there. We have signed the papers. They are monitoring the place. So it won't be vandalized as we speak now. It is empty. There's nothing inside. People who are staying there, they are out. They have gone to their own houses. You'll see when you go there to worship on the 16th. It's a very nice place. And the other thing which is very, very important, the title deed is out. Elder Moyo shared the title deed. I think all the elders should be having a copy, and the deacons, and at the end, every church board member and all the church members must have a title deed copy. And please make sure that when you receive it, save it in your laptop, on your emails. The next 20 years, when it will be most of us old, we shouldn't be worried where is the title deed. It must be available. Church members must have it. Because remember, church records usually get lost very easily. As people change, others get transferred, others go this way. So make sure that that title deed is very, very safe. That's right. And then remember, the other thing which is very, very crucial to us as members is the first time we own our own property. So there will be ongoing costs on the property. There will be expenses to maintain it, to improve it, to make it better. So let's make sure that we, when coming to offerings, let's come to board, come in and contribute and make sure that we help with the development of the place. When we've got our business plan ready to share with all you as a church, and then we're going to try to ask for funding, and then let's all be supportive, let's work together. I think that's one thing we forgot. Elder maybe may add something, and Elder Moyo, if you've got anything to add, and Mwinga, please don't hesitate to add. Thank you very much for this lesson, and then we hope that when we meet, and then when I call you one day, I say, are things fine? Don't say this man now is mad. After teaching us, he's starting to ask us questions. I do randomly do it. It's the stewardship department. No, I'm going to phone you one day and say, are your assets protected? Don't start looking down. You must make sure that this lady is very safe, feels very safe, that in this man's absence, I must not go underground with depression. Okay? Make sure that we'll ask you, we'll just call you and say, how are things going? Don't say they are fine and have avoidance. We'll ask you specific questions because we are interested in you. It's nothing to do with us gaining anything. We are just interested in your affairs so that at the end, we are a very united family. Thank you very much.
We would like to thank Elder Mashitisho for this presentation that he has given us this afternoon. I think we all are aware now that if there is one person that shares these issues here at Lyttelton is Elder Mashitisho. And I think most men here would testify that he has had a discussion with us as individuals, just trying to find out how things are, what it is you're doing in life, etc. And I think the issue of sharing information is very important indeed. You never know what you are doing, and what you know may help your brother to actually do better in life. Someone giving an example said, when for us of this race, when someone comes to you and says, you're wearing a beautiful suit today, from where did you buy this? We normally would say, hey, my brother, these are very expensive things. You can't, these are very expensive. This is Egyptian cotton, I'm telling you, But when it's people of the other race from Asia, when you ask them, you're wearing something nice today, where did you buy it from? They would say, listen, come this evening, I'll tell you. Maybe we can put money together, and maybe we can order them in bulk, then we can sell and make more money. What they were trying to illustrate is that we tend to hold on information we don't share, and we're happy when someone is battling in life. But I think Odamash demystifies that, and he really lives it. He really tries to help everybody. So thank you very much for what you do, and we want you to continue doing that. The appeal still stands, particularly for the chairs. There are some families that have already committed to contribute and fund and or sponsor a chair. I know of a family that has already said they are going to do 5 chairs. So these offers are beginning to come, and we hope that every church member is going to do the same. If you can't do 5, do 1. And then everybody doing 1, we will get to the number. This morning we announced 150, but if we can get to 200, that would be good. I also would like to thank the ambassadors that presented a program this morning. That leadership must really feel appreciated. We thank them for the program that they gave us this morning from Sabbath School, and then the senior youth, a program that they gave us during divine service, the message and the rest of it all. At this time, I will ask us to rise as Elder Mwinga closes for us in prayer.
Let us pray. Our loving Father and our God who is in heaven, we want to thank you for this occasion that we had on this Sabbath day to discuss issues pertaining to your kingdom. We pray that, God, you bless those that have presented and contributed. We also want to bless every family that is here, that, God, as we live, may everything that we do be that which advances your kingdom. As we depart, we pray that your presence be with each and every family that is here. Thank you for answering our prayers, because we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. This marks the end of our meeting today. Board members are reminded to please attend the board meeting tomorrow. IT, thank you for your services.